This is the video introduction for the Sustainable Food Production Lesson Plan. It was created by Elaine Getz and narrated by Sean Krupa. This video and accompanying lesson plan are part of Ohio University's Boat of Knowledge in the Science Classroom project, funded by the National Science Foundation. Let's begin with an interactive discussion. Suppose you are shipwrecked on a deserted tropical island and you have just enough time to grab 3 of these items before the ship sinks. Which of the items would you choose and why? Take a few minutes to discuss your answers amongst the class. You can pause this video and resume when you're ready to continue. Hopefully by now you've had an interesting discussion on which items you would choose and which items you would not choose. There are very few wrong answers. However, hopefully you singled out the items that require batteries or electricity as items you would not take. Also, you should avoid items that can only be used once or a few times, such as the matches, granola bar, etc. Some of the items can be used again and again, and the right combination of these could mean your survival. For example, with a shovel, seed packets, and water filter, you could plant and maintain crops. Crops would cover your food needs, greatly increasing your chances of survival. Now let's talk about victory gardens. Victory gardens were a strategy employed by the U.S. government during World War II. Every American was encouraged to plant their own garden and grow at least a portion of their own food. At the height of their popularity, there were over 18 million victory gardens, and 1/3 of all the fruits and vegetables consumed at that time came from victory gardens. This achieved the following. With many Americans producing a portion of their own food, this drove down the cost of other food. This meant that the government could spend less money feeding the troops and more money on equipment, supplies, etc. This brings us to sustainability, the topic of our lesson plan. If you're using the guided notes, they begin here. The definition of sustainability is meeting the needs of today without compromising the needs of future generations. The triple bottom line of sustainability is people, profit, and planet. We'll provide examples of this in the coming slides. Let's look at pre-industrial revolution farming. At this stage, food production was usually sustainable. Food from farming kept people alive and healthy. Farming practices allowed the earth to continue to produce food, and the economic system of bartering was profitable for families. After the Industrial Revolution came industrial agriculture, which was designed for high volume and maximum profit, not long-term sustainability. The heavy use of pesticides, chemical fertilizers, and monocultures harms the planet and people. Typically, with this type of agriculture, machines replace human labor, which harms profit or the economy. Here are some interesting facts. In 1940, 1 calorie of fossil fuel energy produced 2.3 calories of food energy. Currently, it takes 10 calories of fossil fuel energy to produce just 1 calorie of food energy. Take a few minutes and discuss why you think this is. You can pause the video now and then resume when you're ready to continue. Hopefully you came to the following conclusions: that we are getting less energy efficient in growing food as we were in 1940, and also that the food we're producing today is less nutrient rich. Another negative impact of industrial farms is that they cause $34.7 billion worth of environmental damage per year in the United States alone. This brings us to the goal of the lesson plan and an activity that you'll complete when this presentation is over. You're going to be designing a garden for sustainable food production. Specifically, you'll have to choose plants which provide a variety of nutritional characteristics. You'll have to figure out how to prepare soil without chemical fertilizers, and manage pests with minimal, if any, pesticides. You'll need to learn about the nutrition from plants. Did you know that the colors of plants can roughly indicate their nutritional components? Detailed nutritional information can be found at the link provided. We need a variety of plants to fulfill a variety of nutritional needs. You can't just eat potatoes. Finally, plants get all their nutrients from the soil, so soil treatment is a critical factor. Here we see a chart with vegetables and fruits sorted by their colors, along with the nutrients that they contain. And here we see fruits and vegetables listed by their color. You'll need this chart and the chart from the previous slide in your activity. Here's an example of the USDA National Nutrient Database. This particular page is the page for broccoli. And if you follow the link that was provided a slide or two ago, you'll see a page just like this. The nutrients are listed on the left with their values given for different amounts of broccoli. Let's talk about chemical-free soil amendments. Why do we want to be chemical-free? The two main reasons are that it's easy and common to add too much chemical fertilizer, allowing runoff excess into local waterways, a form of pollution. Also, chemical fertilizers are usually manufactured from petroleum products, which are a non-renewable and therefore not sustainable resource. Let's look at complete sources of chemical-free soil amendments. These include compost, vermicompost, which is just compost enhanced by worm activity, compost tea, which is the nutrient-rich liquid which leaches from compost piles, and finally manure, which has to be composted for many months before using because it's initially too high in nitrogen and bacteria. Here are some examples of partial chemical-free soil amendments. These include dried leaves, newspaper, mulch, grass clippings, and coffee grounds, each with their own chemical characteristics. Another form of soil management is crop rotation. Crop rotation is a farming strategy in which land is planted with a different crop in succession. The two main reasons to use crop rotation are that planting the same crop year after year can deplete specific nutrients in the soil. Also, certain plant diseases remain in the soil over several years, and if the same crop is replanted in the diseased soil, it itself will become diseased. Since different crops are susceptible to different diseases, planting different crops each year reduces the risk of spreading the disease. The last topic we'll look at is pest management. Pest management comes in three main types. Integrated, which relies on an approach of a combination of common sense practices. Organic, which is an approach which only uses pesticides that are produced from natural sources. And finally, pesticide pest management, which is an approach that relies on synthetic chemicals to manage pest damage. Let's take a closer look at integrated pest management. This includes monitoring and identifying, prevention, physical or mechanical control, biological control, and the use of small amounts of chemically synthesized pesticides, but only as a last resort. In summary, we saw that sustainability is meeting the needs of today without compromising the needs of future generations. The triple bottom line of sustainability was people, profit, and planet. We then looked and saw that a wide enough variety of plant-based foods provide complete nutrients for survival, and that soil management and pest management were essential for sustainable food production. You're now ready to design your garden. This concludes the video introduction. Thanks for your attention.